I'm Ethan Miller, and I'm cursed, not with some epic destiny or world-saving system like other protagonists. Nah, my cosmic cheat code is designed to push me to the brink of total public humiliation over and over again. Everyone else is an all-around genius, but me? I'm an all-around genius, limited to awkward situations only. My entire existence is a masterclass in reverse engineering myself into godhood through sheer ineptitude. At Statewood University, our picture-perfect student council president, Chad Harrison, sees me as his personal nemesis. He's got old money, a razor-sharp mind, and he's the undisputed frontrunner for the notoriously ice-cold campus queen, Olivia Sterling. Me? I'm just a guy who wants to slack off and get through college, but somehow I'm always in his crosshairs. To complete the ridiculously absurd tasks my system throws at me, I'm constantly dragged into Chad's orbit, battling him at every turn. My goal is simple: snag the rewards without completely dying of embarrassment, and maybe, just maybe, drive that smug jerk absolutely insane. At first, Olivia Sterling, the Arctic campus beauty, please stay far away from me. Later, she watches me beat a chess grandmaster with my feet. How many more surprises do you have that I don't know about? Finally, after I finish singing Row, Row, Row Your Boat with a god-tier voice, a slight curve graces her lips. Sing another one. I want to hear it. Bing, detecting host's unwavering commitment to slacking off and a profound desire to do absolutely nothing. Conditions met for the ultimate, yet utterly ridiculous, all-purpose system binding. Binding in progress. 10%. 50%, 100%, binding complete. Ethan Miller, greetings. From this day forward, this system will serve you wholeheartedly, assisting you in reaching the pinnacle of life and becoming the celebrated king of social mortification. I was sprawled on my dorm bed, staring at the ceiling, contemplating the meaning of existence, when a mechanical voice in my head nearly made me perform a failed sit-up, landing flat on the back of my head. Who's there? I rubbed my skull, glancing around warily. My roommate Mike was on a video call with his girlfriend, laughing like a 300-pound idiot. Sam had his headphones on, head banging like a bobblehead to the music. Dave was out on the balcony, mumbling to his new cactus while watering it. Everything seemed normal, except for the voice in my head. Host, do not be alarmed. I am a magnificent entity from a higher dimension. You may call me System, the voice replied with a, how should I put it? A smarmy, snarky electronic synthesized feel. I fell silent. As a veteran reader of web fiction, I knew what a system was. A cheat code, a wise old mentor, an overpowered advantage. But why were other people's systems starting with grand declarations like defy destiny or command the universe, while mine proclaimed me the king of social mortification? And what was with that utterly ridiculous in parentheses? Did it think I hadn't heard? System, are you malfunctioning? I try to communicate mentally. Report host. This system is operating stably. CPU, GPU, and memory utilization are all below 1%. Health status is superior to 99.99% of sub-healthy humans on Earth, especially typical dorm slackers like yourself with your chronic late nights, irregular diet, and lack of exercise. Me. Minimal damage, maximum insult. I took a deep breath, deciding to accept my fate. After all, a free cheat was a free cheat. Maybe King of Social Mortification was just a scary title, and it would actually grant me some incredibly overpowered, world-shaking abilities. All right, system. What about the newbie gift pack? Hook me up with Mjolnir or Excalibur. I'm not picky. Bing. Newbie gift pack delivered. Congratulations, host. You have received passive skill. God-tier awkward atmosphere generation. Effect. Automatically triggers in any situation where the host wishes to avoid awkwardness, maximizing awkwardness within a 10-meter radius. My smile froze. System, I'm warning you. Additionally, newbie mission issued. Host, please proceed immediately to the downstairs dining hall during dinner rush hour. There, you must loudly recite the following lines to the universally acknowledged coldest campus beauty, Olivia Sterling. Ah, fair Olivia, thou art like a beacon in the night, so radiant, so utterly captivating, those soulful eyes, that perfectly chiseled jawline. Ahem, that pristine, flawless visage of yours hath utterly bewitched my soul. Mission success reward. God-tier singing voice, limited to children's songs. Mission failure penalty. Permanent body odor, smelling distinctly of old gym socks mixed with garlic bread. My vision went black. Olivia Sterling, the Ice Queen of Statewood University, a computer science prodigy, perpetually topping the campus confession boards and beauty polls. Rumor had it she came from old money, and her suitors could stretch from the North Gate to the South, but no one had ever managed to make her spare more than a fleeting glance. Her face was so beautiful it looked like an AI had meticulously sculpted it, but her demeanor was as chilly as a walk-in freezer. The temperature within a 15-foot radius of her automatically dropped 5 degrees, and it wanted me to recite that cringeworthy monologue to her in a packed dining hall, no less. As for that penalty, permanent body odor smelling of old gym socks mixed with garlic bread? What kind of sadistic, deranged setting was this? Was the inventor of this penalty a devil? System, I refuse, I declared righteously. Bing, warning, host has refused to execute mission. Penalty mechanism countdown initiated 10-9-8. I shot up from the bed, my forehead drenched in cold sweat. Wait. I'll go, all right. I wanted to cry. Ethan Miller, had lived 20 years by the creed. Less trouble is better than more trouble, and no trouble is better than just chilling. Yet today, to avoid becoming a walking garlic bread odor bomb, I was forced onto the highway of public mortification. I changed into what I consider my coolest outfit and made my tragic march to the dining hall, each step feeling like I was treading on broken glass. The dining hall at dinner time was a cacophony of voices and the steamy aroma of various foods. I spotted Olivia instantly. Couldn't help it. She stood out too much. She sat alone at a table by the window, a simple dinner plate before her. There were plenty of empty seats around, but no one dared to sit near, creating an odd vacuum zone around her. She wore a simple white sundress. Her long hair cascaded down her back, and she gazed out the window with an indifferent expression, as if she came with her own soft focus filter completely out of sync with the noisy environment. I swallowed hard, my legs trembling. Host, please note, your God-tier awkward atmosphere generation passive has triggered. Before I could react, I heard a clang. A guy carrying a tray slipped right in front of me, and his entire plate of spaghetti with marinara sauce, accompanied by a torrent of red sauce, flew in a perfect arc, landing precisely on Student Council President Chad Harrison's pristine white shirt. The dining hall fell silent for 3 seconds. Chad Harrison, our school's golden boy, Student Council President, with a trust fund the size of a small country. He always carried himself with an air of elegant nobility. Now his chest was a mess, and his handsome face went from bewildered to livid. The clumsy guy's face went white with terror as he bowed repeatedly, profusely apologizing. All eyes in the dining hall focused on them. A surge of secret delight coursed through me. Perfect opportunity. While everyone was watching the show, I could quickly get my mission done. I took a deep breath, darted towards Olivia, and as she looked up in confusion, I used every ounce of my lung power to practically scream. Ah, fair Olivia, thou art like a beacon in the night, so radiant, so utterly captivating. Those soulful eyes, that perfectly chiseled jawline. Ahem, that pristine, flawless visage of yours hath utterly bewitched my soul. My voice was booming, filled with such tragic emotion that it sounded less like a confession and more like a martyr's last testament. If the spaghetti incident had silenced the dining hall for 3 seconds, my bellow plunged the entire space into absolute dead silence. Every single eye, including Chad, who still had marinara sauce plastered to his chest, snapped towards me. I saw shock, bewilderment, disdain, and a profound sympathy in their gazes. Olivia Sterling's cool, clear eyes for the first time showed a dramatic flicker of emotion. She stared at me, brows furrowed, as if trying to determine whether I had just escaped from a mental institution. The temperature around her seemed to drop to freezing point. I felt my face burning hot enough to fry an egg. My mind was blank. All I wanted was to dig a hole and crawl into it. Bing. Mission complete. Congratulations, host. You have received God-tier singing voice, limited to children's songs. Please exit the scene immediately. Awkwardness value has exceeded critical threshold and may lead to unpredictable consequences. You don't say. I spun and ran, not daring to look back, feeling 1,000 murderous stares burning into my back. I swore I heard Chad gritting his teeth and a few suppressed snickers. This was it. Total social mortification. I sprinted all the way back to my dorm, locked the door, and threw myself onto my bed, burying my head under the covers. It was over. My life, Ethan Miller's life, was utterly over. Tomorrow, I'd be the top story on the campus forum. I could already picture the headline. Shocking. Man does this to Ice Queen campus belle in dining hall. The scene was unbearably awkward. System, I'm going to end you. I roared in my mind. Host, please remain calm. Effort always yields reward. You now possess a god-tier singing voice, albeit in a specialized domain. My liver ached with anger. Children's songs? What good is that? Am I supposed to audition for The Voice and blow everyone away with row your boat? Theoretically feasible. All products from this system are of the highest quality. A god-tier singing voice means that when performing children's songs, you will possess perfect pitch, rhythm, emotional expression, and soul-penetrating charisma, enough to make listeners weep and move hearts. I scoffed. Sure, keep dreaming. While I was still fuming, Mike burst into the room, a look of pure gossip on his face. Dude, Ethan, you're something else. I just scrolled through Facebook and saw your heroic deed in the dining hall. Legendary. To challenge Chad for a girl? I salute you, you're a true man. I wave him off, wishing I could just disappear. Get out, let me die in peace. No way, man. I heard you totally stumped Olivia. Her eyes reportedly contain a complex mix of, are you an idiot? Is this guy crazy? And where's security? I buried my head even deeper. Just then my phone rang. It was my academic advisor. Ethan, the freshman welcome gala next week. Each dorm has to put on an act. Have you guys submitted yours yet? Sure enough, Mike snatched the phone from my hand and yelled into it. Yes, we did, advisor. Our dorm's sending Ethan. Solo talent. Sinjing. He's gonna blow the roof off the place. After hanging up, Mike clapped me on the shoulder, giving me a look that said, aren't I the best, bro? Dude, this is your chance to redeem yourself. Shine at the welcome gala. Let Olivia see you're not just some awkward weirdo reciting creepy lines. Me? Thanks a lot, truly. Me on stage, singing? Singing what? Twinkle, twinkle, little star? Why was my life suddenly hurtling in such a strange direction? The next few days were pure hell. My heroic deed in the dining hall spread across campus at light speed. Walking down the path, people would point at me, then erupt into suppressed giggles. I had become Statewood University's biggest joke of the year. Even worse, it seemed Chad had me in his sights. Ever since his white shirt was baptized by marinara sauce and I stole his thunder, the student council president looked at me like I was his mortal enemy. For instance, if I went to the library to claim a seat, I'd barely put my books down before a student council member would sternly tell me, "Sir, you're not allowed to reserve seats with personal items." Then, right in front of me, they'd clear my books away. But if I looked around, there were clearly several backpacks on other empty tables. If I went to the coffee machine, I'd wait in line forever. And just as it was my turn, the old attendant would slowly hang equipment maintenance, no service sign. The moment I left, the sign came down. I strongly suspected Chad was using his presidential power to launch an all-out retaliation against me. That jerk, he was more petty than a mosquito. And I, besides mentally cursing his ancestors 18 generations back, was powerless. What could I do when he was a rich, handsome, powerful guy, and I was just a broke college student? My only comfort was the unreliable system. Bing, daily mission issued, the bully scorn. Mission content, publicly challenge Chad, the student council president, in his strongest field, chess. Mission reward, god-tier chess skills. Only effective when playing with feet. Failure penalty. Speech will have an auto-tune effect for 3 days. I stare at the mission panel, lost in thought. Play chess with my feet? System, do you have some kind of weird fetish for me? System, are you sure you're not just messing with me? Host, please trust this system's professionalism. Imagine, as your toes delicately tap, pieces landing like shooting stars on the board, constructing an exquisitely intricate game. Ultimately taking down the arrogant Chad. What a stunning image that would be. I pictured in my mind a guy with questionable foot hygiene, right in front of everyone, taking off his shoes and using his feet, which hadn't been washed in who knows how long and emitted a mysterious odor, to poke around on the chessboard. Stunning, yes, but also a little eye-watering. I refuse. Bing. Penalty mechanism activated. I'll go. I gritted my teeth. Compared to becoming a walking, auto-tune mess, playing chess with my feet didn't seem so bad anymore. The day of the freshman welcome gala arrived quickly. My roommates practically shoved me backstage. My heart was pounding like a drum. Don't be nervous, Ethan. Just summon that courage you had in the dining hall. Yeah, just pretend the audience are all cabbages. I glared at them. Easy for you guys to say. The auditorium was packed, lights dazzling. Through a gap in the curtain, I spotted Olivia Sterling in the front row VIP section. Beside her sat the confident, high-spirited student council president, Chad Harrison. Chad was leaning in, saying something to Olivia, a confident smile on his face. Olivia, as always, was expressionless, merely offering an occasional polite nod. Seeing them together, a strange flicker of annoyance stirred in my gut. Next, please welcome Ethan Miller from the business school for a solo performance. A round of applause, everyone. The announcer's voice boomed, and I felt my heart trying to leap out of my throat. Mike gave me a hard shove from behind. I stumbled, nearly tripping face first as I burst through the curtain. The spotlight whoosh hit me, illuminating the sea of faces in the darkened auditorium. 1,000 eyes stared at me. Isn't that the dining hall confession guy? He's going to sing? What? Can't help falling in love. Haha, I bet $50 will be off-key all the way to Siberia. The murmurs from the audience weren't loud, but they were just enough to reach my ears. My god-tier awkward atmosphere generation, passive, once again, faithfully performed its duty. I stood center stage, my hands and feet feeling utterly useless. The music hadn't even started, and my mind was already a blank. This was it. Total humiliation, multiplied by 1,000. Host, please select your song. The song library has been filtered for you, all within the children's song domain. A virtual screen appeared before my eyes, listing a row of song titles. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, old MacDonald had a farm. Row, row your boat, the wheels on the bus, Mary had a little lamb. I took a deep breath, throwing caution to the wind. That one. Row your boat. Song confirmed. God tier, singing voice activated. Emotional rendering module loaded. Soul penetrating effect enabled. Wishing you a successful performance. The familiar, almost ridiculously simple melody began to play. The laughter from the audience grew louder. Row your boat. Is he serious? My 3-year-old nephew doesn't even sing that anymore. Chad's lips curled into an undisguised sneer. He even made a show of shaking his head at Olivia, as if to say, see? What clown? Olivia's brow also furrowed slightly, apparently losing interest in this farce. I closed my eyes. Here goes nothing. The moment I opened my mouth and the song flowed out, even I was stunned. Row your boat gently down the stream. The voice was clear, pure, imbued with an indescribable magnetism. Every note felt kissed by an angel, pitch perfect. The simple melody, coming from my lips, was imbued with life, brimming with a sense of story. The first line conveyed the playful joy and innocence of a carefree journey. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. In the second line, the singing suddenly took on a hint of sorrow and yearning. It wasn't just simple lyrics. It was a profound lament about fate. Life, a journey full of both joy and struggle. A fragile dream we desperately cling to. Was it truly as carefree as we wished? Or was there a deeper, more poignant truth beneath the surface? It was a silent testament to the unfairness of destiny. The laughter from the audience, across the hall, abruptly ceased. Everyone's eyes widened, staring at me in disbelief. My singing seemed to possess a magic that cut through the noise, directly impacting the depths of every soul. Some people's eyes welled up. They were no longer hearing a simple children's song, but a somber tale of brokenness, of yearning, of the very meaning of life. Were those two tigers or the people rowing their boat? Not all of us struggling lost, yet still striving forward in life. I saw a girl in the front row covering her mouth, tears streaming down her face. I saw Mike, Sam, and Dave, mouths agape, expressions as blank as if they'd been struck by lightning. I even saw Olivia Sterling, who had always been expressionless, her cool eyes now glistening with moisture. She stared at me, her gaze filled with shock and a hint of curiosity. Only Chad. His face was uglier than if he'd swallowed a fly. His sneer was frozen, replaced by incredulity and jealousy. He couldn't fathom how a childish song could achieve such an effect. The song ended, its echoes lingering in the air. The entire hall was silent. After a full 10 seconds, a thunderous ovation erupted. Holy crap. Amazing. What kind of divine singing was that? I'm a grown man, and I almost cried. Mom asked me why I was kneeling for a children's song. Dining hall confession guy. You're my new idol starting today. I stood on stage, panting, feeling completely drained. That song felt like it had consumed all my energy. Looking at the frenzied audience and Olivia with her complex gaze in the front row, I suddenly felt that this social mortification might not have been such a loss after all. At least, I made Chad look like an idiot. I bowed and walked off stage amidst the deafening applause. Mike and the guys swarmed me like I was a freak. Dude, Ethan, you were hiding that deep. With this skill, it's a shame if you don't go on American Idol. I waved them off, too tired to explain. Bing. Side mission stunned the audience complete. Reward. God-tier cooking skills, limited to instant ramen. Effect. Every bowl of instant ramen you make will possess Michelin 3-star level taste and flavor. Me? System. Do you have some kind of misunderstanding about my career path? From king of social mortification to children's song king. And now you want me to be the god of instant ramen. What in the world was my future going to be? My rendition of Row, Row, Row Your Boat made me famous in a very bizarre way. The campus forum's headline changed from Dining Hall Confession Guy's social suicide to children's song king Ethan Miller. One song, Row Your Boat, made everyone cry. Countless comments followed. I was a live audience member. I swear, that was the most impactful row your boat I've ever heard. I felt like I saw the past and future of those two tigers, the beginning and end of the universe. The guy above is crazy, confirmed. But seriously, it was amazing. I've looped it 100 times. Anyone know anything about Ethan Miller's background? Is he from a musical family? Replying to the above, as far as I know, he's just a regular student, usually quiet, and his biggest hobby is playing dead in his dorm. Because of this unexpected performance, my reputation at school did a complete 180. From a joke, I became a mysterious, unassuming master. Even Olivia, when she saw me, wouldn't outright ignore me like before. Instead, she'd nod, still frosty yes, but this was historic progress. Of course, with joy came sorrow. And the sorrow, naturally, belonged to the student council president, Chad Harrison. Rumor had it he now hated all boats and the number row. Anyone in the student council who dared to mention either in his presence would either write a 10,000-word self-reflection or be summarily dismissed. I figured he probably wanted to kill me. And my system, apparently, had considered this and decided to fan the flames. Bing. Main mission, the bully's scorn has entered phase 2. Host, please proceed to the Mindful Chess Club and publicly challenge its president, Chad Harrison, to a game of chess. Furthermore, you must declare that you will play him with your feet. I rub my temples. System, can we choose another method? Like using my nostrils or my ears? Host, playing with your feet was determined through big data analysis to be the optimal solution. It most effectively demonstrates your disdain for traditional authority and your pursuit of performance art, maximizing both the provocation effect and the flex factor. I'm pursuing my head. I'm pursuing slacking off. Detecting significant emotional fluctuation in host. Penalty mechanism has been. Stop. I raise my hands in surrender. I'll go all right. And so, on a beautiful sunny afternoon, I, Ethan Miller, once again embarked on a journey of self-destruction. The Mindful Chess Club was one of Statewood University's most prestigious organizations. Its members were either wealthy or influential, and President Chad Harrison himself was an amateur master, having won several city-level championships. As I pushed open the ornate wooden door of the club, a dozen or so people were seated, quietly playing chess, the faint clicking of pieces clearly audible. Chad sat at the main table, giving a coaching lesson to a white-haired elder. His posture was elegant, his moves swift and precise, truly embodying the demeanor of a grandmaster. My appearance shattered the tranquility. I'm looking for Chad Harrison, I said, a bit awkwardly. Everyone looked up at me. Chad's brows immediately furrowed when he saw me, his eyes filled with distaste. Ethan Miller, what are you doing here? You're not welcome. His voice was as cold as ice. I gritted my teeth, hardened my heart. What's one more public mortification after all? I came to challenge you to a game of chess. At my words, the entire room erupted in astonished murmurs. A plump guy couldn't help but snicker. Haha, kid, you serious? Challenge President Harrison? Do you even know who he is? Yeah, President Harrison's chess skills are in a league of their own here. Who do you think you are? Chad waved a hand, silencing the mocking. He looked at me with disdain, as if I were a clown performing for his amusement. Challenge me? Fina. But what's your credential? What tournaments have you won? What's your rating? I stammered. I barely knew the rules of chess, let alone any rating. None, huh? Chad sneered. Then get lost. I don't have time to play with attention seekers like you. Wait, I blurted out, panicking. If I didn't pull out the big guns now, the mission would fail. I'll play you, but I have one condition. Oh, Chad seemed intrigued. What condition? I took a deep breath, throwing out the line that would surely make me infamous for generations. I'll play you with my hands tied behind my back. I'll use my feet. The entire chess club fell, so silent you could hear a pin drop. Everyone stared at me as if I were mentally challenged. The white-haired elder, startled, dropped the chess piece he was holding. Chad's face went from disbelief to a furious beet red. Play chess with his feet. This wasn't just a challenge. It was a blatant insult, an ultimate insult to him, to the Mindful Chess Club, and even to the game of chess itself. You are dead. Chad practically hissed these 3 words through gritted teeth, his eyes blazing with fury. Fine, I'll play you. Today, I'm going to show you what self-inflicted humiliation truly means. He was absolutely enraged. The chessboard was quickly set up. Chad sat opposite me, his face thunderous. Meanwhile, under the collective gaze of everyone, I removed my shoes and socks. An indescribable, complex odor, a blend of sweat and stuffiness, quietly permeated the elegant chess club. The people closest to me subtly shifted backward, trying to maintain distance. My toes curled in embarrassment. Bing! God-tier chess skills, foot only, loaded. Deep Blue Soul, possessed mode activated. Enjoy showing off. The moment my toes touched the cool chess pieces, a strange sensation washed over me. The chessboard, which usually looked like a foreign language to me, now appeared incredibly clear. Every line, every point contained infinite possibilities. I felt like I could see 100 moves into the future. Chad, playing black, made the first move. He was seething, playing fast and brutally, every move a direct assault, aiming to swiftly slaughter my dragon. The onlookers watched with schadenfreude. Looks like President Harrison wants to leave him with nothing. Serve him right. How dare he insult Chad like that? He needs a lesson. However, I simply sat cross-legged on the floor, my expression calm, my right foot's toes nimbly picking up a white piece and delicately placing it in a corner of the board. That move, seemingly ordinary, was like a nail driven into a weak point of Chad's fierce offensive. Chad froze for a moment. He clearly hadn't expected me to respond with such composure. He snorted, then continued his aggressive assault. I remained unhurried, my toes flying, pieces dancing across the board like sprites. Click! The only sound in the chess club was the soft click of pieces. Gradually, everyone's expressions changed. From initial ridicule and disdain, it shifted to surprise, then gravity, and finally, sheer astonishment. The uninitiated watched the spectacle, but the experts saw the true skill. Everyone present was a chess enthusiast, and they clearly saw that my every move was unconventional, almost untraceable. A seemingly casual placement would always defuse Chad's offense, and without anyone noticing, weave an inescapable net. Chad's forehead began to sweat. His proud attacks felt like a child's punches against me, soft and powerless. He felt like he wasn't playing against a person, but against a cold, emotionless chess god. And this god was playing with his feet. The frustration and humiliation were so intense, he felt like he would vomit blood. After about 100 moves, the situation on the board was crystal clear. Chad's black pieces were fragmented by my white. Several of his main lines were barely hanging on, and defeat was inevitable. The white-haired elder, who had been watching intently, suddenly gasped, crying out, "Good heavens! This is the legendary cosmic style." And, in his technique, it subtly echoes the shadow of Grandmaster Bobby Fischer. His eyes, which had initially looked at me like an idiot, now gazed at me like a deity. Chad's face instantly turned ashen upon hearing those words. He stared intently at the chessboard, his body trembling. He had lost. Lost completely and utterly. Lost to someone playing chess with his feet. I resign. He choked out these 3 words, collapsing into his chair as if all strength had been drained from him. I withdrew my feet, letting out a long sigh. Using my toes to pick up chess pieces was surprisingly tiring. I put on my shoes, stood up, and prepared to make a quick exit. "Wait, young man." The white-haired elder suddenly rushed over, grabbing my hand, his face flushed with excitement. "Young man, what is your name? From whom do you study? Such divine chess mastery. Why have I never heard of it before?" I gave an awkward laugh. "My name is Ethan Miller. No teacher. Self-taught. Self-taught." The elder grew even more excited. "A genius. A peerless genius. Young man, I am Mr. Henderson, the president of the Statewood City Chess Association. I sincerely invite you to join us, to represent Statewood in the national competition. With your skill, winning the championship is a real possibility." I was startled. Me? Go to the national competition? With my feet? That image was too beautiful and terrifying to contemplate. No, thank you. My interests don't lie there. I quickly waved him off. "Don't say no, young man." The elder clung to me stubbornly. "A genius like you shouldn't be buried. If you're willing, I'll even give you my presidency." Everyone around us was stunned. Give up his presidency? Was this old man crazy? Just as I was struggling to break free, a cool, clear voice echoed from the doorway. "If he's unwilling, then don't force him." I turned to look. It was Olivia Sterling. She had arrived unnoticed, standing quietly by the door, observing the entire spectacle. Her presence caused the temperature in the entire chess club to drop a few degrees. "Mr. Henderson instinctively loosened his grip. Olivia walked towards me, her beautiful eyes for the first time studying me at such close range, so intently. Her gaze was complex, curiosity, exploration, and a hint of something I couldn't quite decipher. She paused, seemingly organizing her thoughts. "How many more surprises do you have that I don't know about?" I opened my mouth, unsure how to respond. Was I supposed to tell her I could also sing Old MacDonald with a God-tier voice, or make Michelin 3-star instant ramen? Looking at her flawless face so close to me, I felt for the first time that my God-tier awkward atmosphere generation passive had failed. The atmosphere, far from awkward, was actually subtle. Ever since I defeated Chad in the Mindful Chess Club with my feet, my status at school underwent another dramatic change. I now had several new nicknames. The artsy types called me the Soulful Singer, the chess enthusiasts called me the Barefoot Chess Master, and most people simply and crudely refer to me as Ethan the Phenomenon. Yes, the Phenomenon. The general consensus was that I was a performance artist, an intermittent genius, and chronically on, to which I could only say, you're not wrong. Chad, on the other hand, was utterly deflated. Twice in a row, he had been publicly humiliated in his own areas of expertise, in ways he couldn't comprehend. His self-confidence had suffered a devastating blow. Reportedly, he had locked himself in his dorm for days, delegating all student council duties to the vice president. And that vice president, coincidentally enough, was Olivia Sterling. This led to my interactions with Olivia inexplicably increasing. For example, she would suddenly find me, an expressionless look on her face, and hand me a document. "Ethan, This is the follow-up form for the Welcome Gala Program evaluation. You need to sign it, or she would stop me on the path, still expressionless. Mr. Henderson from a chess club asked me to find out when you're free. He wants to invite you to dinner to discuss chess strategy. I found that even though she appeared cold, she wasn't a bad person. At least, she never looked at me like I was an idiot, unlike everyone else. Her eyes held more of a pure curiosity about the unknown. That evening, I was hungry and about to head downstairs for food when I suddenly remembered my new skill. God-tier cooking skills, limited to instant ramen. Should I try it? I rummaged through my drawers, found my last packet of beef ramen, snagged an egg from Mike's desk, and pinched a scallion from Dave's balcony. Boiled water, opened the packet, added the seasoning, cracked the egg, sprinkled the scallions, all in one smooth motion. Just as I covered the bowl, preparing for the sacred 3 minutes of waiting, the system alert chimed. Bing, detecting host utilizing God-tier cooking skills. Master moment activated. Host, please close your eyes and deeply feel the breath of the ingredients and the rhythm of the water. Guide the heat transfer with your mind to achieve the supreme realm of noodle human unity. Me? I'm just making ramen. Does it have to be like a cultivation ritual? Skeptical, I closed my eyes, and then something incredible happened. I felt like I could see everything inside the ramen bowl. How the boiling water permeated each noodle, transforming it from dry and stiff to delightfully chewy. How the powders and oil in the seasoning packets dissolved, releasing layers upon layers of complex aroma. How the egg slowly solidified in the heat, the yolk achieving a perfect soft-boiled state. How the pungent freshness of the scallions was activated by the steam, infusing the entire bowl with soul. 3 minutes later, I opened my eyes and lifted the lid. An indescribably powerful aroma instantly filled the entire dorm. It wasn't the smell of ordinary instant ramen. It was a complex fragrance, blending rich bone broth, seared beef, fresh vegetables, and various secret spices. Mellow, potent, yet with a hint of elegance, aggressively inviting, yet utterly irresistible. Mike, who was in the middle of a game, twitched his hand, causing his character to lose. He ripped off his headphones, his nose twitching like a dog's. What the hell is that smell? Who's secretly eating some 5-star gourmet meal in here? Sam, the rock and roll headbanger, stopped swaying, a dazed look on his face. No, this isn't that. This smell. It's too refined. I smell freedom and dreams. Dave, who was still giving his cactus a pep talk on the balcony, rushed in, pointing at the ramen bowl in my hand, aghast. Ethan, you've fallen. You're eating alone behind our backs. I looked at the seemingly ordinary bowl of ramen, swallowing hard. The noodles were distinct, shimmering with tempting oil. The broth was so savory it made me want to cry. A flavor no MSG could replicate, each sip tasting like premium beef bone simmered for 49 hours, paired with the tender soft-boiled egg and the fragrant scallions. Delicious. Absolutely mind-blowing. I devoured the entire bowl, soup and all, in a whirlwind. Letting out a satisfied burp, I saw my 3 roommates gathered around me, chopsticks in hand, staring longingly at my empty bowl, their eyes filled with desire and condemnation. Ethan, be a human. If you're our brother, make another bowl. Please, just one bite, even a taste of the soup. It was then I realized I might have just unlocked an incredible weapon. Just then, there was a knock on the dorm door. Mike, being closest, opened it. Standing at the doorway was Olivia Sterling. Today, she wore athletic wear, her hair tied in a high ponytail. With no makeup, she looked less cold and more youthful and vibrant. In her hand, she held a stack of documents, seemingly there for me to sign. However, the moment she stepped inside, she froze. Her delicate nose twitched slightly, and her cool, clear eyes for the first time showed a look of utter bewilderment. What is that smell? She asked almost instinctively. The powerful aroma of ramen hadn't yet dissipated from the dorm. Mike and the guys, seeing the campus goddess, immediately snapped out of their greedy look and composed themselves, trying to look dignified. I felt a bit awkward. I couldn't exactly say it was my instant ramen, could I? Tout déclassé. Ahem. Vice President Sterling, are you looking for me? I tried to change the subject. Olivia's gaze, however, passed over me and landed on the empty ramen bowl on my desk. She stared at the bowl, then sniffed the air again, lost in thought. We're just eating this, she asked, pointing at the bowl. I nodded, steeling myself. Her face showed an even more inscrutable expression. She must have been wondering why a cheap bowl of instant ramen could emit such a captivating, soul-stirring aroma. Bing. Hidden mission triggered. Goddess's craving. Mission content. Make the cold campus beauty, Olivia Sterling, interested in your instant ramen and actively request a taste. Mission reward. God-tier drawing skills, limited to Peppa Pig. Failure penalty. Receive the title king of tripping on flat ground, guaranteed to trip when walking for 1 week. Me. System, you old dog. That penalty is pure evil. Make Olivia actively ask for my instant ramen? Are you kidding me? A goddess like her probably doesn't even touch mortal food. How could she eat this junk food? I broke out in a sweat. Mission about to fail, on the verge of becoming a walking tripping hazard. Just at this critical moment, Olivia suddenly spoke. Do you have any more? Me, huh? I thought I'd misheard her. Olivia's cheeks seemed to flush with a suspicious hint of red. She avoided my gaze, her voice dropping a few notches. I haven't had dinner yet. It smells pretty good. My 3 roommates' jaws practically hit the floor. The Ice Queen, actively asking for food, and instant ramen, no less. Had the world gone mad? My heart soared with joy. The mission was saved. Yes, I'll make you one right away. I was so excited I nearly jumped. I fumbled around, found my last cherished packet of mushroom chicken ramen, and repeated the master moment ritual. Soon, a bowl of god-tier mushroom chicken ramen, comparable to a state banquet dish, was placed before Olivia. She looked at the art-like ramen in the bowl, her eyes filled with wonder. She hesitated, then picked up her chopsticks, elegantly took a small bite, and gently placed it in her mouth. Then she froze. After a full 5 seconds, she slowly, contentedly exhaled. Her perpetually frozen face actually showed a trace of enchantment. Then, under the dumbfounded gaze of me and my 3 roommates, she devoured it. Her eating, though still maintaining good manners, was definitely no slower than mine had been. Soon, another empty bowl. She even drank every last drop of soup. Only after finishing the soup did she realize her lapse in composure. A deeper blush spread across her fair face. She put down the bowl and, a little embarrassed, said to me, "Thank you. It was delicious." Bing. Mission complete. Congratulations, host. You have received god-tier drawing skills, limited to Peppa Pig. I let out a sigh of relief. At least my legs were safe. You're welcome. If you like it, I can often. Before I finished, I suddenly remembered I only had those 2 packets. Ahem. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Olivia nodded. Sign these documents, please. After I signed, she took the papers and turned to leave. At the doorway, she stopped again, looked back at me, her lips moving as if to say something, but ultimately, she didn't speak. She just gave me a nod and hurried away. After she left, the dorm exploded. What did I just see? I saw a fairy come down to Earth to eat instant ramen. Ethan, you're incredible. What kind of dark magic do you possess? You conquered Olivia Sterling with a bowl of ramen. From today on, you're not Ethan Miller. You're Ramen Grandmaster. I smiled smugly, my accomplishments hidden in plain sight. However, trouble soon followed. The next day, I was in the library, trying to experience what it felt like to be a diligent student. Suddenly, the library lights cracked. All went out. The entire library plunged into darkness and chaos. What's going on? Power outage. My paper isn't saved. Screams and complaints erupted everywhere. Just then, a girl shrieked in terror. The bookshelf. The bookshelf is falling. I followed the sound, and in the faint glow on my phone screen, I saw a tall row of bookshelves slowly tilting in one direction. Beneath the shelf, a girl was pinned by a fallen table, unable to move, about to be crushed by the heavy bookshelf. The situation was dire. People around were screaming, but no one dared to approach. My mind surged with adrenaline. Without thinking, I rushed forward. But I was a weakling. How could I possibly hold up such a heavy bookshelf? Bing. Emergency situation triggered. System automatically matching available skills. Match successful. God tier drawing skills. Peppa Pig has activated special usage scenario. Magical brush mode. Host, please immediately find paper and a pen and draw what you need. I was dumbfounded. At a time like this, you want me to draw Peppa Pig? Will a drawing of Peppa hold up a bookshelf? Will she use her hairdryer like nose to blow the shelf away? Host, do not question this system's professionalism. Draw quickly. It'll be too late otherwise, the system urged. Desperate times, desperate measures. I fumbled in the dark and grabbed a notebook and a pen from a nearby table. Ignoring the terrified look in the trapped girl's eyes, I crouched on the floor and started drawing frantically. Time was short. I couldn't afford to think. I was relying entirely on the instinct of my god-tier drawing skills. My hand speed was so fast it left after images. A pink, hairdryer-like body outline. 2 ears, round eyes, and that iconic pig nose. Done. The moment I drew the last stroke, a miracle happened. The Peppa Pig I had drawn suddenly emitted a soft pink glow. Then, with a pop, it leaped off the paper. It wasn't flat. It was three-dimensional. A living, breathing, about half-meter tall, jelly-like Peppa Pig stood before me. It blinked its tiny, beady eyes and let out a classic pig oink at me. Oink. Me. Everyone else. The girl with the pinned leg. Everyone was stunned by this supernatural scene. They even forgot to scream. The bookshelf's angle of tilt increased, emitting a screeching, groaning sound. Peppa, quick, go hold that shelf. I wasn't sure if it understood, but I yelled, pointing at the bookshelf. The pink, jelly-like Peppa Pig seemed to truly understand. It turned its head, looked at the teetering bookshelf, then at the girl who was almost fainting from fright, and then, with its short little legs, thump, 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 it charged forward. Don't let its short legs fool you. It ran quite fast. It reached the bottom of the bookshelf, hunched over, and with its plump, round back, it solidly braced the falling shelf. Bang! A muffled thud. That massive iron bookshelf, weighing hundreds of kilograms and filled with books, was actually held steady by this half-meter tall pink pig. The entire world fell silent. Everyone's mouths hung open, staring at the little Peppa Pig glowing softly pink in the darkness, bearing the immense weight with its small body. This scene was utterly surreal. What are you waiting for? Help her! I snapped back to reality and shouted at the crowd. As if waking from a dream, everyone rushed forward, working together to drag the girl out from under the table. The girl's leg was injured, but thankfully, her life wasn't in danger. She was just incredibly shaken. The person was rescued, but now there was another problem. What about the bookshelf? We couldn't just let Peppa hold it forever, could we? System. What now? Does this thing I drew have a time limit? I asked anxiously. Report host. Objects created by magical brush mode can exist for 10 minutes. They will automatically disappear after 10 minutes. Remaining time, 8 minutes and 20 seconds. 10 minutes? If Peppa disappeared after 10 minutes, wouldn't the bookshelf still come crashing down? Everyone, quickly remove the books from the shelf. Lighten the weight. A calm voice cut through the chaos. It was Olivia Sterling. She was here too. She had somehow made her way to my side, holding a phone with its flashlight on, illuminating the area. Under her calm guidance, everyone immediately sprang into action, frantically moving books off the shelves. I joined the book-moving effort. As I moved books, I secretly glanced at Olivia, who was calmly directing beside me. In the darkness, the flashlight illuminated her face, her profile sharp and clear, her eyes focused and determined, possessing a unique charm. She seemed to sense my gaze, turning her head to look at me. You drew that? She asked, a hint of an almost imperceptible smile in her tone. My old face flushed, and I nodded. It's cute, she added. I wasn't sure if she was talking about Peppa or me. With everyone's efforts, the bookshelf was soon emptied of books. Several brave guys worked together to slowly right the empty shelf. As the bookshelf was secured, the pink, jelly-like Peppa Pig seemed to have completed its mission. Its body began to turn transparent, and its glow grew weaker. It turned around, looked at me, and let out another oink, as if saying goodbye. Then, with a pop, it dissolved into tiny pink specks of light, vanishing into the air. Bing. Emergency mission crisis under the bookshelf, perfectly resolved. Reward. God-tier massage techniques, only effective on felines. Me? I saved a person, and you gave me a cat-petting skill? System, do you think I'm going to be the king of cat servants? Just then, the library's backup power kicked in, and the lights came back on. Everything returned to normal, as if the surreal scene had never happened. Only the scattered pile of books on the floor and the notebook where I had drawn Peppa remained, proving that it all was real. I became a hero. Although everyone found the sudden appearance and disappearance of the pink creature utterly bizarre, everyone had seen that I was the first to rush forward, and that I had summoned that thing to save someone. Ethan, thank you so much. The rescued girl, accompanied by her family, came over to thank me profusely. The library director also shook my hand, excitedly declaring he would nominate me for a Good Citizen Award for bravery. I once again dominated the campus forum. Shocking. Library blackout, bookshelf collapse, mysterious hero summons pink divine beast to save lives. I was there. That pink thing, it looked like Peppa Pig to me. Don't be ridiculous, above poster. Peppa Pig could hold up a bookshelf? You think she's the Hulk? It's true. I saw it too. Ethan the Phenomenon's creations are always masterpieces. After the songs and chess, has he mastered summoning now, too? Ethan, my Superman. I looked at the comments, half laughing, half crying. Chad, in this incident, was utterly relegated to background noise. Reportedly, when the power went out, his first instinct was to protect himself and stay far away, a stark contrast to my heroism. His perfect gentleman persona had completely collapsed. From then on, his gaze, besides hatred, held a hint of fear. He probably really started to wonder if I was even human. That afternoon, I was preparing to complete the system's newly issued absurd mission. Loosen the soil for the potted plants in the principal's office. Must use a toothpick. When Olivia stopped me on the path. Ethan, she called out. Vice President Sterling, how can I help? I asked, putting on a cheeky grin. She didn't speak, just quietly looked at me. After a while, she said, this weekend, the university is organizing a volunteer event at the Stray Animal Rescue Shelter. The student council is taking the lead. Oh, that's a good thing. You want to go? She asked, a hint of expectation in her eyes. I was stunned. Was she inviting me? Bing. Special plot triggered. Goddess's invitation. Host, please accept the invitation and fully display your charm during this event. Mission reward. Mystery grand prize. Failure penalty. Perform the flute with your nostrils in front of all faculty and students. My body jolted. Play the flute with my nostrils? The mere thought of that scene was suffocating. Go. Of course I'll go. Dedicating our love to stray animals. It's our unwavering duty. I immediately replied, utterly righteous. The corner of Olivia's lips seemed to curve upward, ever so slightly. It was the first time I had ever seen her smile. Though fleeting, it was like an iceberg melting, a snow lotus blooming, beautiful enough to make my heart skip a beat. Good. Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Meet at the school gate, she said, then turned and left. Watching her retreating figure, I suddenly felt that this system, which always gave me such ridiculous missions, wasn't entirely useless. At least, it had made my life much more interesting than before. I just wondered if my god-tier massage techniques, only effective on felines, skill would come in handy at the rescue shelter. Saturday morning, I woke up bright and early, feeling energized, and arrived at the school gate. Olivia was already there. She wore comfortable casual clothes, her hair loosely tied back in a ponytail, her face bare, which added a touch of fresh elegance compared to her usual light makeup. Seeing me, she nodded a silent greeting. Students participating in the event gradually arrived, about 20 or 30 in total. To my surprise, Chad was also there. His face was grim. Seeing me and Olivia standing together, his eyes grew even colder, like daggers. He was probably trying to salvage his image after I'd stolen too much of his thunder by participating in this charity event. The bus took us to the Stray Animal Rescue Shelter, located on the outskirts of the city. The shelter's conditions were worse than I had imagined. The air was thick with the mixed scent of disinfectant and animal waste. In cages, all sorts of abandoned cats and dogs were confined. Most of them had timid eyes, either cowering and trembling in corners when strangers approached or letting out wary, low growls. The shelter director, a kind middle-aged woman, assigned us tasks: cleaning cages, feeding, and bathing the small animals. Chad immediately showed his leader side, starting to bark orders at everyone, telling this person what to do, ordering that person what to do, while he himself wore gloves, frowned, looking utterly disgusted. I couldn't be bothered with him and quietly picked up a broom to start sweeping. Olivia, on the other hand, walked straight to the cat enclosure. She seemed to love cats, and as she looked at the skinny little creatures in the cages, a rare tenderness appeared in her eyes. She tried to open one cage, wanting to comfort a very frightened orange cat, but the cat instantly hissed, extending a paw and scratching her. Olivia cried out, "Ah!" and several red scratches immediately appeared on the back of her hand. "Are you okay?" "I rushed over." "I'm fine, just a small scratch." She shook her head, but her brows were tightly furrowed. "Let me handle it," I said. Then, I remembered my freshly acquired skill. God-tier massage techniques, only effective on felines. Time to show off some real talent. I walked up to the cage. The orange cat bared its teeth at me, a threatening grr rumbling in its throat. I didn't rush to touch it. Instead, I extended my hand, hovering it in front of the cat, and then I activated the skill. I closed my eyes, imagining an incredibly complex set of massage techniques in my mind. From its temples to the back of its neck, from its spine to the base of its tail, every pressure point, every inch of muscle was precisely manipulated within my mind's eye. Something incredible happened. The once hostile orange cat suddenly quieted. It tilted its head in confusion, and then it actually leaned in, rubbing its cheek against my fingers. It felt like a grumpy old man had suddenly hit his sweet spot, instantly becoming as docile as a lamb. I gently picked it up. Not only did it not resist, but it purred contentedly in my arms, making soft, rumbling sounds. Olivia watched, completely stunned. How did you do that?" she asked, surprised. "Trade secret." I grinned proudly and began to massage the orange cat. My fingers seemed to possess magic. The orange cat in my arms was so comfortable it lay on its back, exposing its soft belly, its tail wagging nonstop like a propeller. After that, I became the king of the entire cat enclosure. No matter how fierce or how scared the cat, as soon as I approached and activated the skill, they would immediately surrender, turning into docile lapdogs. No, Lapguts, a pitch-black cat, known as the shelter bully, was massaged by me until its eyes rolled in bliss. A Siamese cat, timid as a mouse, that would get agitated if anyone touched it, actively lay down at my feet, begging for strokes. A group of newborn kittens, highly wary, treated me as their mother and climbed all over me. I was surrounded by a swarm of cats, holding them left and right, enjoying treatment fit for an emperor. The volunteers, especially the girls, were all dumbfounded. "Oh my God, he's amazing. The cats all love him. What kind of divine aura is that? Is he catnip incarnate? I wish I could soul transfer into that cat in his arms." Olivia also came over, squatting beside me, looking at the orange cat in my arms, which had an expression of blissed out to heaven, her eyes filled with curiosity and envy. "Can I pet it?" she whispered. "Of course." She carefully extended her hand and gently stroked the orange cat's head. The cat lazily opened an eye, looked at her, then comfortably closed it again. A happy smile bloomed on Olivia's face. It was a pure smile, like a child who had received a beloved toy. Watching her smile, something in my heart felt gently nudged. Meanwhile, Chad's situation was not so pleasant. He was assigned to bathe dogs and ended up getting soaked by a husky. Then, a poodle chased after his pants, refusing to let go, leaving him disheveled. His carefully styled hair and expensive clothes were ruined. He looked at me, surrounded by cats, or rather, worshipped by cats, and Olivia, smiling brightly beside me, his face as black as a pot. The image he had worked so hard to salvage was, once again, completely shattered by me in a way he couldn't comprehend. After the event, on the bus ride back, Olivia voluntarily sat next to me. "Thank you today," she said softly. "Thank me for what?" "My great cat petting skills." I joked. She shook her head, looking at me seriously. Thank you for letting me know that cats can be so cute. Then, she said something that completely surprised me. And thank you for showing me a different world. Very interesting world. I was stunned. My silly, embarrassing, inexplicable actions. She found them interesting. Ethan, she suddenly called my name, her voice soft but clear. I used to think life was about following the rules, achieving one goal after another. Getting into a good university, getting good grades, landing a good job. Until I met you. She paused, a blush creeping up her face. You made me feel that maybe life doesn't have to be so rigid. You can sing a children's song and make everyone cry, beat a champion at chess with your feet, make gourmet food out of instant ramen, and draw a Peppa Pig to save the world. With each sentence she spoke, my heart beat a little faster. I opened my mouth, suddenly unsure what to say. Just then, the smarmy system in my mind suddenly spoke up, in a tone of unprecedented solemnity. Bing. Final mission triggered. The Slacker's confession. Mission content. Host, please express your truest feelings to the girl in front of you. Bravely tell her that your world has become more wonderful because of her presence. Mission reward. System privilege upgrade. Unlock true all-around master mode. Mission failure penalty. None. I froze. No failure penalty? Host, the purpose of this system's existence is not to make you the king of social mortification, but to help you break free from the shackles of your slacker mentality, to experience, to feel, to love this world. You have done exceptionally well, so this final step, regardless of success, carries no penalty. Go forth, young man. The rest is up to you. After speaking, the system fell silent. I took a deep breath, looking into Olivia Sterling's clear eyes, which reflected my own image. I suddenly understood. Perhaps those bizarre skills the system gave me weren't just to embarrass me, but to make me, time and again, stand before her, to make her see me. Even if I looked clumsy and ridiculous at first. Olivia, I mustered the greatest courage of my life, feeling even more nervous than reciting cringeworthy lines in the dining hall or singing a children's song in front of the whole school. I like you. The bus was quiet. My voice wasn't loud, but it was clear enough for her to hear. Her body trembled slightly, and her long eyelashes fluttered like butterfly wings. I'm not a genius, nor am I a performance artist. I'm just an ordinary guy, a bit lazy, a bit timid, and my biggest dream was just to coast through life. But after meeting you, I suddenly feel that just coasting doesn't seem so interesting anymore. I want to see you smile. I want to make you instant ramen for the rest of your life. I want to pet more cats with you. I finished speaking. A long silence filled the bus. My palms were sweating from nervousness. I didn't even dare to look at her expression. This was it. Had I been too impulsive? Would she think I was crazy and tell me to get lost? Just as I was about to awkwardly avert my gaze, a cool hand gently covered the back of mine. I looked up, meeting her eyes. She didn't speak, but her eyes, once as cold as frost, were now filled with gentle starlight. Then she looked at me and flashed an incredibly brilliant smile. In that moment, I felt all the flowers in the world bloom. Chad Harrison, sitting in the row behind us, witnessed it all. His twisted face was the perfect backdrop for my confession. I didn't know what my true all-around master mode would be like, nor did I know what the future held for Olivia and me. But I knew that from today, this slacker, this salted fish, was truly going to turn over a new leaf. And willingly so, and